talk about the communication gap, which is the black hole in between two speakers where miscommunications usually happen. And there are 3 tools you can use to help to close that gap, and I'm going to talk about them with a little bit of assistance from my very mediocre doodles, one with a bowl cut faux hawk. I don't know what happened. That's just actually how I draw. Sorry. So let's get started. Communication is a two-way street. It involves speaking and it also involves listening. So if you're the speaker, don't just deliver a message and run. Make sure that what you said is actually what was heard. And also, if you're the listener, don't just listen and then run. Make sure that what you heard is what the speaker really intended to say. And if you don't, here are some funny examples of what can happen. So there was a company, a vacuum company from somewhere in the Netherlands called Electrolux, and they decided that they were going to try to sell their vacuums here in America. And their slogan was, "Nothing sucks like an Electrolux." And as you can imagine, they did not sell too many vacuums. And so, because what the listener was hearing was just a good warning. You know, okay, your vacuums suck, I won't buy one, no problem. This is an example from Coors Beer Company. So they, their slogan is, "Turn it loose." But when that was translated into Spanish, what all of the Spanish speakers were hearing was, "Suffer from diarrhea." So there's a communication gap. What was being said is not what was being heard, so they had some problems that they needed to fix. The last example is from Kentucky Fried Chicken, and their slogan is, "Finger lickin' good." So they opened up a KFC over in China, and again, nobody was buying it, and they wondered why. And they realized that their slogan, when translated into Chinese, what meant "eat your fingers off." So again, here's another case of what they're trying to say is not at all what is being heard. The message, all of the significant points, got lost in the communication gap. So let's look at 3 different ways that you can fill that gap. The first way that you can close the communication gap is to paraphrase. And paraphrasing is a very, very simple tool. So if you are the listener, let's see, the person over here, periodically throughout a conversation, just summarize what it is that you're hearing the speaker saying. What are the main points? What is it that's really coming across to you? That way, if you paraphrase what the speaker is saying and you get something wrong, they'll be able to go back and adjust their communication and make sure that you're really understanding what it is that they're trying to convey. If you are the speaker, you can, well, this is sort of a tricky tool to use without being really obnoxious. If you are delivering a lot of information, and it's just very important that the person who's listening understands what it is that you're saying, you can ask them also to paraphrase what it is that they're hearing. And it's always good to preface this with your own intentions. Like, you know, "I'm not sure I'm being clear. Could you tell me what you're hearing me say?" Or, "I don't know if I'm explaining this in the best way. What do you think, what are you hearing as the most important point?" That way you are also closing the gap, asking for them to paraphrase what they're hearing back to you. Another tool that you can use is clarification. Again, that is also pretty simple as long as you're using this throughout the duration of the conversation. So if you are the listener, you have to just get over wanting to look good, and if you have a question, stop the conversation right there and just ask for clarification. You can say something like, "I'm not sure I heard that point correctly. Could you explain that part again?" Or you could ask for clarification on just a specific area of the conversation, such as, "I understand, you know, the points that you're trying to convey, but I'm not sure how you came to that conclusion with them. Could you explain that to me again?" And if you are the speaker, you can stop periodically and just ask for questions. You know, say, "Is there anything I'm saying that's confusing?" Or, "Is there anything that you'd like me to, do you have any questions on what it is that I'm trying to say?" The last tool that you can and really should be using in all of your conversations is to just be alert. So if you are the speaker, your head is always always going faster than your mouth is. So sometimes you're thinking ahead to the next point that you want to make, and that means that if you aren't really focused on what it is that you're currently saying, sometimes you can get tripped up and just say something that you don't intend to say, and you won't really catch it because you're not even hearing what you're saying. Your mind is caught up in where it is that you're going next. So when you are communicating, just be alert, be very present with what it is that you're saying, and just stay in that moment. If you are the listener, sometimes it's kind of easy to just zone out in a conversation, like start doing the sure, and really you're thinking, I wish I had a Frappuccino right now. Try not to do that. Just be alert and stay in that moment with the speaker. Also, sometimes, we get in the habit of just thinking about our rebuttal. So what is it that we are going to say as soon as the speaker stops talking? But once you start doing that, you don't really hear anything the speaker said after that point. You just get tripped up in that thing that you heard that made you start going off in your own thoughts. So be alert and just listen to, do a good job of listening and focus on what the speaker is saying. So these 3 tools, paraphrasing, just summarizing what you heard, clarifying, asking for questions on what it is that you're hearing or saying, and being alert will help you close the communication gap so that what it is that you're saying or hearing is really what the speaker intends to say. So hope you have a great time closing the communication gap. Have a great week, and thank you for watching. Bye.